Alright guys, welcome back to Dice Throne, and here we're gonna go straight into the Moon Elf. Moon Elf is a second level difficulty character. As you can see, the complexity level is 2 of 6, so more than the Barbarian, but actually not that more. I'd say it's a high end 2, but it's actually not bad. So of course, let's get into, I think this is the best way to go about it. So let's say you've gone through your phases here. Upkeep doesn't really do anything on the first turn. You draw your card, get your CP, and then you immediately go in and roll a dice. Now the thing about the Moon Elf is that it is very similar to the Barbarian when it comes to dice rolls. We roll 5 arrows. So 5 arrows can do 3 things. You can either deal 3 damage, deal 5, or deal 7. Of course, if you roll 5, you want to deal 7 damage. Now arrows come on the 1, 2, and 3 dice, just like the Barbarian comes with swords, and the 4s and 5s are feet, and the 6 is moon for the Moon Elf. So, if you roll 5 arrows like this, you would want to attack with 7 damage with your longbow. Alright, so let's see if there is another roll we can get. Okay, so, if we just change this here. Let's say you rolled 2 arrows and 3 feet. Well, now you can use covered shot, and you would want to do this because not only does it do more than the longbow does for 5 arrows, because it not only does 7 damage, but adds the evasive. You gain the evasive token. So what does the evasive token do? Well, let's say that it's your opponent's turn, and they hit you with, let's say, 9 incoming damage. Well, for the evasive, you spend this token, so you get rid of it, and it allows you to roll a dice. And if you roll a 1 or a 2, then you can avoid. In this case, you don't avoid anything, and that's just a waste. So it can be a waste token if you're extremely unlucky, but let's say you roll a 1. Let's say you roll a 1, then you will avoid all damage. So they dealt 9 damage to you, you take no damage if you roll a 1 or a 2. So it's a massively power token at best, and at worst, it does absolutely nothing. So it is an RNG token that you're just going to have to deal with sometimes. Alright, let's roll again, and let's see what we get this time. Alright, so let's do this. Let's say we rolled a 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, that would be a small straight, because canonically 4 numbers that are numerically in order, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you would want to pick this because not only does it not activate anything else, but it also does 7 damage, so it does the same amount as your max longbow, but it also inflicts Entangle, another one of your status effects, on the opponent. This one affects your opponent. So next time, when it's their turn, remember you get 3 roll attempts every single offensive phase. And Entangle removes one of those roll attempts and also removes itself after their offensive. So the next offensive phase for your opponent, they only get 2 roll attempts instead of 3, which is very powerful and may increase their chances of whiffing. Whiffing is when you go through all 3 offensive rolls and you don't get any combination on your board and you just have to end your turn with no attacks. So Entangle vastly improves your chances of having your opponent whiff on their turn. Alright, but let's say, instead of rolling this 1 here, you rolled a 2. So now you have 5 numbers canonically numerically in order, 3, 4, 5, 6. That activates your large straight, which gives you that evasive token, so very useful. But also you deal 8 damage and you inflict blind. Now blind is one of the most overpowered tokens in the game. This basically means that let's say your opponent rolls their dice and they have their attack. They're targeting you with 8 damage incoming fire. When they have blindness, they remove this blindness token, and if they roll a 1 or a 2, so let's just say they roll a 2, their entire attack fails. So it's similar to evasive in that it takes no damage, but it doesn't mean just damage. Let's say that they're attacking you with 8 damage and they inflict Entangle onto you. Well, let's say they roll a 2. Blindness means that the damage doesn't matter and their status effects don't go into effect. So it just nulls the entire attack. While evasive allows you to dodge and attack damage, you will still be infected by the status tokens. So this effect, which inflicts targeted and deals 4 damage, evasive will allow you to avoid that 4 damage, but you will still be inflicted by targeted. So you can kind of see how this game is functioning. what you roll determines what you can do. And of course, if you don't want to do, let's say here. Let's say you rolled this large straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing's stopping you from picking to deal 3 damage with your longbow if you want to do 3 damage with the longbow. But you would always want to pick the highest amount of damage you possibly roll, but no one's stopping you from just picking the longbow, deal 3 damage right here. You could do that if you want to. I'm not saying there are certain situations that you may want to pick that, but it's really rare. You will really want to go for the top ones. Alright, so now let's get into big numbers. Let's say you get really lucky and you roll 4 6s. That allows you to pick Eclipse. You don't have to pick Eclipse, but I would pick Eclipse. This would allow you to inflict blind. Remember, if they roll 1 or 2 on their next offensive roll phase, their attack fails. Entangle, they lose a roll attempt, and they're inflicted with targeted. So what does targeted do? Targeted means it is a persistent token, so even if it is activated or triggered, it stays on the opponent's board until they remove it with token removal via remove a token or remove it through cleanse. The main thing here is that targeted increases an attacker's attack by +2. The Moon Elf, if Moon Elf, let's say Moon Elf does demising shot, and they inflict targeted first. Instead of dealing 4 damage, now she deals 6 damage, because targeted adds 2 incoming attack damage from the person who inflicted targeting, so the Moon Elf does, instead of dealing 4, they now deal 6. And targeted does not get removed after being triggered, it stays on the board until it's removed forcefully, manually. So those are the 4 effects of the Moon Elf. And the ultimate is just if you roll 5 6s, it is one of each token. You inflict blind, entangle, targeted, just like Eclipse does, but you also gain evasive, giving you that protective token, and then you deal 12 ultimate damage, which again is unblockable by tokens, cards, or anything. It just deals 12 damage, and there's nothing that can stop it. Alright, so what do you think? So that is the Moon Elf, and honestly, the best thing to say about the Moon Elf is you just have to roll your dice and decide. The Moon Elf is not really that strategically complicated. It's more about you really want to get targeted, inflicted early on in the game, but realistically, you want to start getting evasives, because you can get up to 3 evasives, and that gives you 3 chances to avoid a final attack if you're about to die. So, activating Covered Shot, activating Eclipse, Large Straight, and your ultimate, you definitely want to try and get your 3 evasives so you have 3 lives at the end of the game to basically save yourself from dying. Inflicting targeted is also a good idea. Demising shot, Eclipse, and your ultimate is a good idea as well, but realistically you just want to keep inflicting these status tokens wherever you can. So now let's go into defense, the final thing. So let's say you're being attacked by 8 damage. So let's say you're being attacked by 8 damage, you roll 5 dice, because defensive roll 5 means you roll 5 dice. Alright, so perfect. So for every pair of arrows, so we rolled a pair of arrows, so 2 arrows, you deal 1 damage back. So we're dealing 1 damage back on our opponent. But on a pair of feet, you prevent half incoming damage. We rolled a pair, so instead of them dealing 8 damage to us, we were dealing 1 damage back to them per the pair of arrows, and they're only dealing 4 damage because we prevented half damage incoming damage with the pair of feet that we rolled. So it's a very powerful defense, but of course you could just roll, let's see here. You could just roll this, and then you'd be dealing 2 damage back, because for every pair, so 1 pair, 2 pair, you'd be dealing 2 damage back, which isn't that overpowered. And again, if you get extremely unlucky and for your defensive roll and roll 5 6s, you do nothing because you didn't roll feet or arrows. You just rolled 5 moons, which on your defense does nothing. But that is it, guys. That is the Moon Elf, a very simple character, but also very powerful character with powerful tokens, probably 2 of the more powerful tokens in the entire game with blind and evasive. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, remember to like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe down below if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys with the next hero